Welcome back to Financial Excellence, the place where we turn financial confusion into clarity and hard-earned money into lasting wealth. Let's face it, the world of personal finance, investing, and growing your net worth can feel overwhelming. With so much noise out there, it's hard to know who to trust or where to start. But you don't need a degree in economics to take control of your financial future. You just need the right roadmap. On this channel, we break down complex money concepts into simple, actionable strategies. Whether you're looking to master budgeting, build smart investing habits, scale your income, or achieve true financial freedom, we've got you covered. If you are ready to take your finances to the next level and build the life you deserve, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. Let's build your financial excellence together. Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the modern budgeting blueprint. If you live in an expensive city, budgeting can feel almost impossible. Rent is rising. Groceries cost more. Transportation is expensive. And somehow, your paycheck seems to disappear faster every month. You may have heard financial advice like this. Spend 50% on needs, 30% on wants, and 20% on savings. Sounds simple, right? But what happens when your rent alone takes up 40% of your income? What happens when your basic expenses consume 60, 70, or even more percent of your paycheck? That's where traditional budgeting advice can start to break down. Today, we're going to compare two of the most popular budgeting systems: zero-based budgeting and the 50-30-20 rule. We'll look at how each system works, their strengths and weaknesses, and how you can adapt them if you live in a high-cost city. And by the end, you'll have a practical framework you can use to build a budget around your actual life. Let's get started. Section 1: The high-cost living problem. Before we compare the two systems, let's talk about the biggest problem: the cost of living. Traditional budgeting advice often assumes that your expenses fit neatly into certain percentages. But real life doesn't always work that way. Imagine living in San Francisco, New York, London, or Sydney. Housing can consume a huge portion of your income. Then you have utilities, transportation, groceries, insurance, childcare, healthcare, and debt payments. Suddenly, your essential expenses may already be taking up 60% or more of your income. That leaves much less room for everything else. And this creates four major problems. First, fixed expenses can be extremely high. Your rent isn't something you can easily change every month. Second, discretionary spending becomes harder to control. You have less money available for restaurants, entertainment, hobbies, and travel. Third, saving becomes more difficult. If your basic expenses consume most of your income, saving 20% may simply not be realistic right now. And fourth, your priorities change. In an expensive city, building wealth isn't only about earning more. It's about directing the money you already earn as intentionally as possible. That's where budgeting methodology becomes important. A good budget isn't supposed to make you feel trapped. It should help you understand where your money is going and give you control over where it goes next. Section 2: Zero-based budgeting. Let's start with zero-based budgeting. The basic idea is incredibly simple. Every dollar gets a job. Imagine you bring home $5,000 after taxes. Instead of letting that money sit in your checking account and hoping you spend it wisely, you assign every dollar a purpose: rent, groceries, utilities, transportation, savings, investments, emergency funds, entertainment, and other expenses. When you're finished, your income minus your planned expenses and savings equals zero. Now, this does not mean you spend every dollar. That's an important distinction. Money assigned to savings is still money with a job. The goal is intentional allocation, not reckless spending. Here's how you can use zero-based budgeting. First, calculate your monthly take-home income. Include your regular salary. And if your income is variable, estimate conservatively. Next, list your expected expenses. And don't stop with the obvious ones. Think about subscriptions, insurance, annual memberships, gifts, medical expenses, car maintenance, school expenses, and other irregular costs. Then assign each expense a category. After that, prioritize. This is where zero-based budgeting becomes powerful. You may discover that you don't have enough money to fund everything. That's okay. You have to decide what matters most. And finally, monitor your budget throughout the month. You don't have to check every transaction obsessively. But regular reviews can help you catch problems before they become major problems. Zero-based budgeting in an expensive city. Let's say Sarah takes home $6,500 every month. Her expenses might look like this: $2,200 for rent, $180 for utilities and internet, $350 for groceries, $400 for transportation, $80 for her phone, $45 for subscriptions, $300 for insurance, and $1,200 for childcare. That gives her approximately $4,755 in essential expenses. She has about $1,745 remaining. Now she gives that remaining money specific jobs. $400 goes toward her emergency fund. $500 goes toward retirement. $400 goes toward dining and entertainment. $300 goes toward personal expenses. And $145 goes toward gifts or charitable giving. Every dollar has a purpose. Nothing is left completely unplanned. That is the power of zero-based budgeting. The advantages. The first advantage is transparency. You know exactly where your money is going. The second is prioritization. When money is limited, you have to decide what matters most. The third is flexibility. Your budget doesn't have to look exactly the same every month. And the fourth is wealth building. You can deliberately fund savings and investments instead of simply hoping there will be money left at the end of the month. But zero-based budgeting also has disadvantages. It can take time. It requires attention. And constantly making financial decisions can become exhausting. For someone already experiencing financial stress, tracking every dollar may sometimes increase anxiety rather than reduce it. So zero-based budgeting is powerful. But it isn't automatically the best choice for everyone. Section 3, the 50-30-20 rule. Now let's look at the 50-30-20 rule. This system became popular through the work of Elizabeth Warren and Amelia Warren Tyagi. And its appeal comes from simplicity. The idea is straightforward. 50% of your after-tax income goes toward needs. 30% goes toward wants. And 20% goes toward savings and debt repayment. That's it. 3 major categories. Let's break them down. Needs include housing, utilities, groceries, insurance, transportation, childcare, and other expenses required for basic living. Wants include restaurants, entertainment, hobbies, travel, subscriptions, and other non-essential purchases. Then there's savings and debt repayment. That can include emergency savings, retirement contributions, investments, and additional debt payments. The biggest advantage is simplicity. You don't need dozens of categories. You don't have to track every tiny purchase. Instead, you're managing 3 broad buckets. And psychologically, that's easier for many people. It also gives you permission to enjoy your money. A budget shouldn't mean that you never have fun. If you earn $6,000 after taxes, 30% represents $1,800 for wants. That could provide meaningful room for entertainment and lifestyle spending. But there's one major problem. What if your needs already exceed 50%? This is common in high-cost areas. If your rent is extremely high, and you also have transportation, childcare, insurance, and groceries, your needs could easily consume 60% or more of your income. In that situation, forcing your budget into the 50-30-20 structure can create unrealistic expectations. The solution isn't necessarily to abandon budgeting. It's to adapt the framework. Section 4, a real 50-30-20 example. Let's imagine Marcus takes home $7,000 every month. His needs total $3,500. That's exactly 50%. His wants total $2,100. And he directs $1,400 towards savings and debt repayment. For Marcus, the system works. But now imagine his rent increases by $600. Suddenly, his needs become $4,100. That's almost 59% of his income. Now the original 50-30-20 structure doesn't fit. And that's the key lesson. A budgeting framework should serve your financial reality. You shouldn't have to distort your reality just to make your budget fit a formula. Section 5, Zero-based Vs, 50-30-20. So which system is better? Let's compare them. First, complexity. Zero-based budgeting is more detailed. You know exactly where your money goes. The 50-30-20 rule is much simpler. For simplicity, 50-30-20 has the advantage. Next, adaptability. Zero-based budgeting is extremely flexible. You can change your allocations every month. That makes it useful when your expenses vary. For adaptability, zero-based budgeting wins. Now, wealth building. Zero-based budgeting can make aggressive saving easier because you're deliberately assigning money to financial goals. The 50-30-20 rule gives you a built-in 20% target, but you can always save more if your situation allows. For aggressive wealth building, zero-based budgeting can provide more control. Next is sustainability. A highly detailed budget can become difficult to maintain. The 50-30-20 rule requires less effort. And that can make it easier to follow for years. Finally, emergencies. A rigid budget can feel uncomfortable when unexpected expenses appear. A simpler framework may give you more psychological breathing room. So there isn't one universal winner. The best system depends on your personality, your income, your expenses, and your financial goals. Section 6, the hybrid approach. Now here's where things get interesting. You don't have to choose one system completely. You can combine them. For someone living in a high-cost city, a hybrid budget may be more realistic. One option is an adjusted 60-25-15 system. 60% for needs, 25% for wants, and 15% for savings. For someone earning $6,000 per month, that's $3,600 for needs, $1,500 for wants, and $900 for savings. It isn't perfect, but it's realistic. And realistic budgets are much more useful than perfect budgets you can't maintain. Another option is a priority-based zero-based budget. Instead of creating dozens of categories, create 4 major priorities. Priority 1 is essential needs. Priority 2 is quality of life. Priority 3 is financial security. And priority 4 is wealth building. You fund the priorities in that order. This combines the intentionality of zero-based budgeting with the simplicity of a category-based system. Section 7, seasonal budgeting. Here's another strategy that can work especially well. Seasonal budgeting. Your expenses aren't necessarily identical every month. Winter may bring higher heating costs. Summer may bring travel expenses. The end of the year may bring gifts and celebrations. Insurance payments may happen annually. Medical expenses can appear unexpectedly. So instead of pretending every month will be identical, plan ahead. Look at your expected expenses for the next 3 to 12 months. Then divide large annual expenses into monthly savings targets. For example, if an annual expense is $1,200, instead of being surprised by a $1,200 bill, you could set aside about $100 per month. Now the expense becomes predictable. That's another major benefit of intentional budgeting. You turn financial surprises into planned expenses. Section 8, the hybrid example. Let's look at Jennifer. She takes home $8,500 per month. She lives in an expensive city. Instead of forcing herself into 50-30-20, she creates a personalized structure. About 62% goes toward needs. That's approximately $5,270. About 23% goes toward wants. That's approximately $1,955. And 15% goes toward savings. That's approximately $1,275. But here's the interesting part. Inside each category, she uses zero-based budgeting. Her needs are carefully tracked. Her entertainment money is intentionally allocated. And her savings are automatically transferred. So she gets the simplicity of percentage-based budgeting with the control of zero-based budgeting. That's what a modern budget can look like. Section 9: How to implement your budget. Now let's turn this into an action plan. Step 1. Track your actual spending. Do this for at least 1 month. Don't judge yourself. Don't try to fix everything immediately. Just collect the information. Step 2. Calculate your true essential expenses. Housing, food, utilities, transportation, insurance, healthcare, childcare, minimum debt payments. Understand your baseline. Step 3. Calculate your actual percentages. If your needs are 65%, write down 65%. Don't force them into 50% just because a popular rule says so. Step 4. Choose your system. If you want simplicity, consider 50-30-20 or an adjusted version. If you want maximum control, consider zero-based budgeting. If you're dealing with high living costs and want both simplicity and control, use a hybrid. Step 5. Automate what you can. Automate savings. Automate recurring bills. And separate money for major financial goals. Automation reduces the number of decisions you have to make. Step 6. Review your budget regularly. Once a month is a good starting point. In every few months, step back and ask a bigger question. Is this budget still helping me reach my goals? Because your budget should evolve with your life. Section 10: For higher income earners. If your income increases significantly, your budgeting strategy should change too. A higher income gives you more opportunities. But it can also create lifestyle inflation. You earn more. Then you upgrade your apartment. Buy a more expensive car. Eat out more often. Take more expensive vacations. And suddenly, despite earning more money, you're not actually building more wealth. That's why higher earners should consider increasing their savings and investment rate as income grows. For example, you might establish a target where a meaningful portion of every raise goes toward long-term financial goals. The exact percentage depends on your circumstances. But the principle is simple. When your income rises, don't automatically allow your lifestyle to consume the entire increase. Direct some of the additional income toward your future. You can also explore tax-advantaged accounts available in your country. In the United States, that may include employer retirement plans, IRAs, and HSAs for eligible individuals. Contribution limits and tax rules change over time, so always check current official guidance before making decisions. Final section: The modern budgeting mindset. So which budgeting system should you choose? The answer is the one you can actually maintain. If you love details, zero-based budgeting may be perfect for you. If you want something simple, the 50-30-20 rule may be easier. And if you live in a high-cost environment, a hybrid approach may be the most realistic solution. Remember, a budgeting rule is not a law. It's a framework. Your income is different. Your expenses are different. Your city is different. Your goals are different. So your budget should be different too. The goal isn't to make every percentage look perfect. The goal is to make your money work intentionally. Know what comes in. Know what goes out. Protect yourself from emergencies. Save consistently. Invest according to your goals. And spend on the things that genuinely matter to you. Because a successful budget isn't the one that looks perfect on paper. It's the one that helps you build a better financial life. Month after month. Year after year. That is the modern budgeting blueprint. And that is how you turn a budget from a restriction into a financial strategy. If this video helped you understand budgeting in a new way, subscribe for more practical personal finance strategies. And remember, you don't need a perfect budget. You need a budget that works for your real life. I'll see you in the next video.